So, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when we say finance or business?
I think I have a lot of childhood memories when we say business or finance because my dad was an MBA professor and I grew up listening to a lot of business terminologies.
So, how do you break down complex business problems into modern life solutions? And like you narrate it like stories, right? I've seen most of your reels. It's pretty simple, it's apt to the
Right.
point. How do you do that?
See, whenever we tell about business or entrepreneurship, the most common thing that comes into my mind is that, oh my god, this is something really complex, I really cannot deal with it.
One of the main excuses, if you ask anyone right now, gives is that, oh, she had the privilege of having that network.
Correct. So I started interning, or rather, working from the age of 16. Similarly, I interned in railway. So that is where I got to meet a lot of different personalities which I was not exposed to before. So that is where you get to build networks in different professions.
So you're also a founder, you're doing content, you're traveling around, you're doing so many things, you're breaking down complex business problems and stuff, which a lot of seniors are doing out there. So what would you like to say about burnouts? How would you deal with it and how do you actually tackle it?
Because at such a young age, if I am able to interact with a set of people or experience what I'm doing, then I'm actually grateful for it. Moreover, I chose to be a part of this journey.
How did Story Howl start?
I realized there are a lot more stories of the founders which are really very inspiring, interesting, and very fascinating to even listen to. So that is how Story Hall came into existence, where I'm just extending an IP of what I have been doing for Funda Hudgi.
With that, welcome to the very first episode of Claritcast, where we bring to you a real life stories that not only transforms you, but also inspires you to be better as a student and moreover as an individual.
Your voice, listening to Claricast. Conversations beyond the classroom.
Knowledge is a tool, but execution is the ultimate superpower. With that, welcome to the very first episode of Claritcast, where we bring to you a real life stories that not only transforms you, but also inspires you to be better as a student and moreover as an individual. With that, let's welcome someone who's not only a content creator, but also a public speaker, along with being a founder. She's someone who's super smart. By smart, I don't just mean regular smart, but she's streak smart because she is also the founder of Story Howl Media. She's known as the Funda Hudgi, and that is none other than Swati Kulkarni. So, Swati, welcome to Clarit. Welcome to Claritcast. How do you feel being here?
Thank you so much for inviting and for such a lovely introduction. It really means a lot. And I'm feeling really good. Looking forward to having a good conversation.
Definitely. So, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when we say finance or business?
I think I have a lot of childhood memories when we say business or finance because my dad was an MBA professor and I grew up listening to a lot of business terminologies.
A lot of business
Yes,
terminologies. Damn,
because
okay.
he was also into stock market and trading. And every morning I would wake up to hear all these stock market, bear market, bull market, etc. So that is what is the first thing I remembered alongside my content. So that is majorly what I can recollect back to.
You know, a lot of people actually start hearing the concepts of stock market and everything once they reach their 20s or something. And
Right.
you have been listening to it since
Yes.
your childhood?
Yeah, I think from 10 or 11 years when I was there.
Wow, wow. So you've been
Yeah.
listening to it since then.
Right.
Great. So what is Funda Hudgi? What is that? How did it start? Tell me more about that.
Well, to start off, I think I'll have to go back to my 7th grade probably because that's when I aspired to become a business journalist. Because as I just told, my father used to often listen to Shareen Bhan's interviews on CNBC. And that is when I found it to be a little fascinating. They're talking to founders and startups and they're talking about new terminologies. And I'm like, okay, this is something really interesting. Business journalism. That is how I started off with my content as well because when the second wave of corona hit, the lockdown, that is when I was writing my board exams and half of my exams got cancelled and I was in a dilemma, should I study or should I just like enjoy this one unannounced holiday period.
Right.
So that is how I was like, okay, anyway, I want to become a business journalist. Let me overcome my camera shyness and let me look more into the commerce side. And that is how I started with content creation. just as an experiment and exploring more of what I am interested in.
So ultimately, the lockdown was your cue to like just start something.
100%.
All right. So if it wasn't for the lockdown,
Mhm.
what would have pushed you to, you
Mhm.
know, finally get into content creation and like start off with something like that?
Well, if it was not for lockdown, I'm not sure if I would be a content creator or not, honestly. But I would definitely be a business journalist and a founder.
Because when it comes to lockdown,
Mhm.
all of us, especially me,
Right.
I was just chilling, and you got this concept like I have to be a
Yeah.
content creator. I think that's
Yeah.
also one of the peak times where a lot of us got into
Correct.
creating something online, right?
Yes.
So talking about your page, that is
Mm.
the Funda Hudgi. I think you have nearly 1 lakh followers.
Right.
So how do you break down complex business problems into modern life solutions, and like you narrate it like stories, right? I've seen
Right.
most of your reels.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple. It's apt to the
Right,
point. How do you
right.
do that?
See, whenever we tell about business or entrepreneurship, the most common thing that comes into my mind is that, oh my God, this is something really complex. I really cannot deal with it. But I feel that business is something that is really very important and essential in our everyday life, because knowingly or unknowingly, we use like more than 100 brands in a day.
Right.
From the time we wake up to the time we sleep, more than 100 brands we encounter. But what I feel is that everybody needs to know the story behind what they're using or what they have been listening to. So that is how I simplify the complex topics, because if I'm able to understand and explain these terms or these concepts to somebody who's probably 14 or 15 in an easier way, then I think that's when my content also wins. Because ultimately, it is not about making something already a little difficult to understand more complex, but make it more simple, understandable, and relatable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, talking about breaking down complexity,
Mhm.
let's get back to your college days. How
Okay.
did you solve your complex college assignments? Because
Hmm.
what most of us usually do is we listen to something, let's say
Right.
it's a lecture or anything, and
Mhm.
we tend to forget it, right?
Right.
So, practically involving it in your daily life
Mhm.
and actually creating something out of that,
Right.
that's something super different.
Right.
So, talking about the practical knowledge, how
Mhm.
did you gain that?
I mean, coming back to my college days, as I think we spoke earlier behind the camera, that when I graduated last year itself,
Right.
and managing both college and content was really a tough nut to crack, because I was not able to make time for both of the things at the same time. But how did I learn practical things is because, again, my stream of course was also into the field I was creating content into, which is commerce.
Okay.
So I would every day learn lessons, and probably what I was explaining in my content through a brand example, I would learn the back end of it in my college. So more or less I would be able to relate to it, apart from accounts and statistics, obviously.
Wow. Okay, that's actually
But
very
yeah.
smart. So basically, you take up something that you've learned in college, you
Right.
associate with a brand,
Yes.
and then you break down.
Exactly.
It's more like case study,
Right.
analysis.
Yes.
That's really insane. Well, that's cool.
Right.
I think that's something a lot of us don't really do.
Right.
Because the minute someone starts explaining something which is practical or which is serious,
Yeah.
our brain suddenly just goes off to this boring mode on, like we don't really want to
100%.
listen.
Yes.
But then I think associating it with something real life, like a brand, is
Right.
where the interest develops. Now, if you
Right.
tell me that I'm going to talk about the business strategy, how this brand was built and everything, I would probably not listen. Now, you'll
Right.
come and tell me Newme's brand strategy. Newme is putting a discount. Then
Right.
my ear will automatically start being very attentive, right?
Yes.
So that's...
I mean, as you said, this used to quite often happen in my class back in my PU and earlier degree days, where a teacher is explaining a concept, and all of a sudden they give an example of the case study which I've already covered,
right.
because I am already speaking about it, and my whole class, that is my classmates, are also watching my reels. So that way they're like, oh, this reel,
I
Parle
already
ji,
know
yeah.
about this. You already explained it to me.
So that has happened. In fact, I've received a lot of calls from different parts of Karnataka as well, where they have played my case study concept explaining in their classrooms,
Oh,
explaining them, this is the concept we are trying to...
Because it's pretty simple
Yes,
in that way.
simple to understand.
That makes
And
sense.
plus, when we are playing a video, and if it is somebody of our age who's talking about it, a lot of more people will be able to relate to it.
Correct.
So, yeah.
That's really fantastic. It's amazing, bro. And talking about content creation, college life, everything, I think your journey has been pretty inspiring, right?
Right.
So, how did Story Howl start?
I mean,
Being a founder at the age of 22, that's That's pretty much crazy, right? Like a lot of us inspired to be there. And the fact that you're already doing that, it's pretty cool, right? So how
Right.
did you turn out to be a founder?
Well, I think this idea of mine of Story Hall Media was there for a very long time because I have been in the content and the startup ecosystem for more than 4 5 years now, where I've been interacting with founders, where I'm actively part of what is happening in the Karnataka startup space, or let it be Indian startup ecosystem for that matter. And when I'm covering stories across Karnataka, I always had this feeling that the founders who have the access to, let's say, PR or media, or who are able to get in touch with creators like us, are doing really well in terms of putting out their story. And when I travel to different places which we consider to be the real Bharat,
Mhm.
which is Vijaypura, Belagavi, Hubli, or Mangalore, so all these places, I realize there are a lot more stories of the founders which are really very inspiring, interesting, and very fascinating to even listen to. So that is how Story Hall came into existence, where I'm just extending an IP of what I have been doing for Funda Hudki, where I cover different entrepreneurial stories, and I talk about how their brand is being built, how the founder actually started with his journey. So my idea is simple: to know the story which everyone deserves to hear. So this is how Story Hall started, and it is going good because I started this company when I was 20.
Wow,
Yes.
20.
Yeah, and
Great.
the best part about building a company is that it's not just you growing or recognizing founders, but you're building an ecosystem where you're also having a lot more people working with you who are also growing at the same time.
As you said, the
Yes,
ecosystem, the
the
community
ecosystem,
where,
community grows.
right, perfect. That's
Right.
amazing. So you're also a founder, you're doing content, you're traveling around, you're doing so many things, you're breaking down complex business problems and stuff, which a lot of seniors are doing out there.
Mm,
So I think burnout is something which is very constant right now, right? Even if I'm not doing anything, I burn
Mm.
out. But then you're like putting in so much work
Mhm.
and you're always out there on camera, shooting and all these things.
Right.
So, what would you like to say about burnouts? How would you deal with it and how do you actually tackle it?
I mean, as you said, that is definitely there, burnout. But I would like to just reiterate it in a way that this pressure, what I'm having, is definitely a privilege which not many get to
Right.
experience it. Because at such a young age, if I am able to interact with a set of people or experience what I'm doing, then I'm actually grateful for it. Moreover, I chose to be a part of this journey. So
So, hustle.
this is what I have opted for, and I'm happy to be a part of it, because I have always believed that this golden age that we are having right now, that is 20 to 25 or 30,
The hustle
I
period.
will not get back after
Right.
a period of time. So this is something I chose, and I'm actually happy about it. But it is not just about the burnout, but it is the how you will balance things out. That is the primary aspect. So how I do is that I prioritize my things. Is my content, or like, let's say I have promised a brand saying that I'll deliver this content in XYZ period of time,
Right.
is that important? If I'm having a client meeting, is that important? Or when I was in college, I was also the president of my college, so handling the culturals and the student community, is that important? So I prioritize my activities and deal it in a way, whichever has to be done on priority, I will make sure I do it. And
It's
plus I give it a certain amount of time for each activity,
Okay.
so I make sure I do not exceed that
So,
hour.
you already have a set of tasks assigned, you have your priorities straight.
Yes.
Talking about priorities,
Mhm.
one thing, let's say most of them, or students or general people out there,
Mhm.
have real problem is
Mhm.
where they have to choose their priorities
Right.
or aligning their priorities in such a way that they know what is like truly important to them first,
Right.
right?
Mm.
So how do you do that? How do you allocate your priorities straight up?
I think once you start working, you will definitely get to know your priorities. It is as simple as, we all study a night before an exam.
Definitely.
And obviously, the preparation will be
All-nighters.
there. Yes. But when you know that there are 5 chapters that are going to come in exam tomorrow, but
Right.
we know which one to study first, which one has high weightage. So similarly,
That applies in life
yeah,
as well.
life as well.
This is
So-
for those who actually do their studies one night before your exam. Apply this rule. Go
Yeah.
for the weightage first. Talking
Yeah.
about studies and everything, were you a topper?
Yes,
You were?
I was.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people assume that toppers are just nerds and they can't be
Right.
cool and stuff, right?
Mhm.
But you're someone who's been cool, who's also into knowledge.
Right.
There's so many things you're doing. So
Yeah.
is there any story where you felt, like this is something that people thought I was, but I am actually not, and hey, I'm super cool?
I don't know. I think this is a very big misconception people have that, people who are toppers in class or school or college cannot do anything apart from studies. I don't know why do people still do that, at least today. But when I think from the school days, I was always into extracurricular activities, be it elocution or sports. I was also into state level sports. And again, representing my school at different levels of competition. And I was a school topper as well. And the same goes with my college as well. So I think I always wanted to prioritize everything at once. I know it should not be that way.
No, I mean, it makes
but,
sense because you always have that urge to do more,
Yes.
and nothing satisfies you,
Exactly,
right?
right.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. So, what is that one thing that you usually do when
Hmm.
there's a lot of noise in your head and you have to cancel it all out and just focus on one thing straight? Because
I just listen to music.
you just listen to music.
Yes. Any genre, any language doesn't matter. I just want to just stay away from all the work.
And just like
And
blast music in your
yes,
ears and
yeah,
you go all
exactly.
crazy.
Right. I'll
That's
just like
nice.
lock my door, listen, put on the headphones, listen to music, and then just like be as nobody's watching me.
So now let's move towards the hustle part, since we all love hustling and since you clearly love hustling. What are the challenges that you had to overcome at the initial stages of your content creation or being a founder? What are the challenges that actually, like shook you a little bit?
I think the initial challenges were finding time for doing it, because as I mentioned earlier, it is difficult to balance out things, because when you're new to anything,
Right.
you need to learn the art of doing it.
Balancing.
And not just balancing, but like for example, if I'm new to content creation,
Mhm.
I had zero idea of how a light has to be set up. Should I use a mic or not? What is a green screen? I didn't even know the concept of green screen when I started it off. So I think the major challenge was that itself, that how do we record, how do we keep it the mic, how do we edit, all of those things. Because when I started it off, my green screen was my mother's dupatta, and my 10th board guides were
Or your tripod.
tripod. Yeah.
I think
And,
it's all of us at some point.
yes. So I used to record on my dad's phone, and he wouldn't allow me to do, other activities.
Other than like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
When the games and all, I have to hide and play. So yeah.
Wow, bro, wow. Clearly, that's why you're the funda hudge and I'm your listening. But anyways, talking about challenges,
Hmm.
as you said, time, finding time.
Right.
I think time is one thing where everything you do actually aligns out and balances out, right? So
Yeah.
managing time is
Mhm.
priority,
Right.
right?
Yes.
But as students, the
Mhm.
first thing they do when we have time is
Mhm.
like bunk classes
Mhm.
or like scroll Instagram,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
then we complain not having time.
Right.
So, what would you like to say about that? How do you actually find time? Or
Hmm.
let's say you're a busy individual and
Hmm.
everyone just gets 24 hours.
Mhm.
So, how do you actually allocate
Right.
something that is important into that time schedule?
Right. I think I've done the same when I was in college as
Mhm,
well. Like
mhm.
most of the times, bunk classes or like just hang out with my friends
I hope our
outside.
lecturers don't mind.
I have graduated, so I don't care
Guys,
about
we're out
it.
of this. It's on you.
Yeah, I got my degree certificate now, so that's fine.
We're done.
Yeah. No, but yes, quite often we would do that in college as well. But how I would do is that when I was in college, the main thing I had to balance out was time for content creation. And the same goes with when I was interning at different places as well. So what I would do is that I would just like dedicate my 1 hour to this particular activity. So how much ever late it is or whatever it is, 1 hour I have to do it. So I would, give myself that kind of a, challenge, saying that if I do this today, I'm going to get this as a reward for myself. So when
the
I
reward
would-
system is
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah.
But then see, that's the thing, no? Everyone follows this pattern of rewarding themselves,
Correct.
but they tend to reward themselves a lot more than actually putting in the work,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, talking about the challenges, reward system, and everything,
Mm-hmm.
what is that one thing that you believe
Hmm.
that if our generation or
Mm.
the students actually practice this, it'll work out amazingly? It's magic.
Right. So for this is something I did for myself, which I believe everybody should do, irrespective they're a student or somebody who's starting new in their career or anything new. This is something you all should do, I feel. Just take a paper and just do SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis.
So we all have read this in our
Strength, weaknesses.
company
Right.
subjects,
Right.
saying that strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. But I think you should do it for yourself. Understand what is your strength, your weakness, where you can excel, and what do you think is a bit of a threat that can actually stop you from growing. So when you do a SWOT analysis for yourself, you get a better idea on how do we excel it. And most of the times, the biggest mistake most of us do is that we focus on our weakness and we try to work more on it and try to balance out. But I believe if you are good at something,
Work
just
on that.
work on your strength. That
Right.
is the most important part. So when you're, let's say you're good at editing, it is not required that you have to be good at
You have
you
to be a
know
pro
handling
in thing.
camera, or you have to be good at content creation. If you're good at something, just do it. So that is one major thing which I think every student has to follow, the SWOT
Right.
analysis.
This is more like a self-reflecting
Yes,
activity, right?
exactly.
Self-reflection is the key. And
Right.
talking about self-reflection, there's also the concept of networking.
Right.
Where we build real life connections,
Yes.
or let's say any kind of networks that you actually build at this age
Mm-hmm.
is something that continues
Right.
to help you throughout your career or where you want to be.
Right.
So how did you start networking? You said you worked with a lot of founders
Yeah.
and all of that, right? So how did you get such networks?
Mm. I mean, as you said, I think network is one of the most underrated concepts which we have been taught of.
Right.
Because every time in college and school, they tell us that networking is important, but we lack in how do we find the right kind of opportunity. But I would say that an opportunity will never come walking to you. You'll have to go
Go
find
grab
a
it.
way and grab that opportunity.
Right.
When we are in college, the most basic level of networking happens majorly during the festing season, I would say. That is
Right.
how I learned to actually build my networks.
I mean, makes sense.
Yes,
I was into festing as well. We
Right.
went to Best Manager. There was a lot of
100%.
public PR stuff and
Yes.
a lot of festing things, right?
Right.
So there we actually ended up meeting a lot of people.
Exactly.
And that's where you figure out, oh, this is something really cool. This is something
Right.
I'm good at.
Exactly.
This is something I really like.
Yes.
So you also tend to explore yourself while you're
Mm.
networking.
Right.
That makes sense. So coming back again, so is that how you got your networks of founders and everything? Because one of the main excuses,
Mhm.
if you ask anyone right now, gives is that, oh, she had the privilege of having that network.
Correct.
Oh, she had
Yeah.
a start. She already had something established,
Hmm.
but I don't. So I
Right.
lack in it.
Right.
So what would you like to say about that?
See, when you're in school or college level, festing kind of networking works
Mm.
100%, because we get to meet a lot of people from different colleges, and not just even the students, but also the faculties and professors. But when you want to go a level beyond that, for me, what helped personally was internships. So I started interning, or rather, working from the age of 16. My first internship was in the field of sales, where I had to actually, sell a course or something
Oh, wow. Okay.
when I was in 10th grade. So that is when I acquired the sales skill of that. And the irony is that to the same brand, I even endorsed it after when I started my content journey as well.
Wow.
And similarly, I interned in radio. So that is where I got to meet a lot of different personalities which I was not exposed to before. Not just the RJs, but even the people working behind the mics. So that is where you get to build networks in different profession. And soon after radio, I started to work in a meme marketing agency. And over there, I got to, expose myself to how the branding and the marketing, the advertisement world works. So there you get to meet unique kind of people. And at the same time, there are a lot of events that are happening across the country. Let it be startup event or anything in just in general where a lot of people are meeting up.
Right.
So that is a very key aspect when it comes to networking, because that's where you build real network. And when we start with networking at a young age, what happens is that not just you get to learn from them, but there's also a tag attached that at such a young age you're doing XYZ thing.
Exactly.
So they start to prioritize you more, and they will definitely give you work because you're doing something so young, right?
Right, you're already standing out from the crowd.
Yes,
You have
exactly.
something different that's
Yes.
building you already.
Today, half of my team is just 4-5 years elder to me. The
Wow.
clients I'm working for are like 10-20 years elder to me. Like the experience they're holding is my age. So this happens when you start off early, when you build the right kind of network. And most of the times, LinkedIn is something people don't give much of attention towards,
Right.
because they think that, okay, I'll just create one profile, upload my resume, and
like, I'll just keep
build.
updating it with everything I've done. But
They don't realize the true power of
LinkedIn.
especially for networking and for even jobs as well.
Oh, there's a saying that smart people spend more time on LinkedIn than Instagram. Is
Right.
that true?
Yes.
Do you spend more time on LinkedIn too?
I definitely do, but
Okay.
Instagram is my bread and butter.
I can't answer that
I cannot
question.
ignore that.
Fair enough, fair enough. So we spoke about networking, we spoke about connecting with people who actually align with the goals that you want to reach, right?
Right.
There's also one more major setback that
Mhm.
a lot of students tend to have is the fear of actually being out there,
Right.
right? Whenever
Right.
there's an opportunity, they don't really grab it, but
Mhm.
they're very scared to go for it,
Right.
right? They
Correct.
don't know the potential they
Mhm.
have.
Right.
So how would you, motivate them or tell them to go be there, just go try it? How do you say that
Right.
to them?
This is, I think, one of the major concerns a lot of people have when they're starting off, because they feel themselves to be a lot of underconfident, but they don't know that how strong and powerful they can be when they go on stage, or something simpler than that.
Right.
This is something I acquired when I was in school itself, because when you have the platform, and when my parents especially pushed me, okay, fine, it's okay, I know you will study, I know you'll score, but just go
Be out
be
there.
on the stage, eliminate your stage fear. So when you push yourself beyond the limit, that's when actually you can start doing things. And even today, when despite doing a lot number of shows and events and being on media, everything, there will be a slight fear before you enter on the stage, and that
Right.
is going to be there very naturally. But all that is important is to just believe that you can do it. That self confidence and self belief is something you'll have to build.
Right.
And for that, being around the right kind of people is very important.
Choose your circle wisely.
Correct, exactly. So when your circle is somebody who can actually motivate you and give you the confidence, or just say a simple line saying that you're doing really well,
You're
just
good
do
at
it.
this, just
Yes,
keep
you go
going.
to exactly.
Encouragement, that is the one thing.
Exactly. So that
Right.
is one small thing a lot of people mistake to do during their early days. So having that right circle who can give you that small push, saying that just give it a try, nothing will happen. It's just a small motivation which can actually help you do better.
Talking about being confident, overcoming stage fear, or putting ourselves out there, one of the major things that's associated with something like
Hmm.
that is the fear of failing,
Right.
right? But you can never truly understand success if you don't fail, right?
100%. Right.
So, how would you tell students out there
Hmm.
to face their failures or overcoming the fact that it's okay to fail once or twice, because
Hmm.
that is part of life, right?
Right.
Unless you don't fall, you don't
Hmm.
learn.
I think when we were kids, quite often we used to play in the grounds and run the racetrack, everything. And most of the times we would fall down. But we would never step aside saying that this is the end of the game or I would not win at all. Because we know that back of the mind that I am supposed to get up I am supposed to give in my 100%.
You
So
just
the
dust
same
it
thing,
off and you keep
exactly.
going. Yeah.
So the same thing applies to the life as well, because a lot of times when we fail, most of us think that it's the end of the world. Nothing can happen beyond this, or I am the least important person in the life right now, that nobody really is caring about me or is bothered to even speak to me. But at that point of time, the most important thing you need to consider is that you have given your level best, you have tried your 100% to at least fail, because failure is not something wrong. In fact, it teaches you one of the biggest lessons
Yes.
which even success doesn't teach you.
True.
Even see, RCB didn't win the cup for 17 years.
Best example.
So
yes.
that doesn't mean that it's a failed franchise or something. Yet they bounced back and they won back
There's
to back.
always a comeback.
Exactly. So that is the most important aspect in life, where failure should not be treated as the worst thing that could possibly happen. Instead, it should be like a stepping stone from which you learn, move ahead, and just conquer something which you have.
Failure is a stepping stone to
Yes.
success. Likewise.
Yeah,
That's
right.
very well said. Since we are speaking about failure, overcoming it, or just like even being there
Hmm.
to experience trying something new, let's say content creation.
Right.
There's a lot of criticism that each one of us have to go through
Hmm.
because there's so many people. You're putting yourself out there.
Hmm.
You're letting people give out their opinion. With their opinion, I think people also start putting in a lot of hate comments or a lot of mean things
Right.
online, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
I think this is a very fair and a common thing most of us face, because firstly, when you're putting yourself out to a public, you have to have a lot of confidence. So you're overcoming it and you're putting yourself in that place. And a lot of times there are people who unnecessarily have to talk about things
Right.
which is not even relevant to what you're doing, or sometimes it gets biased towards your gender, sometimes it gets biased towards the kind of field you've picked up. Especially considering mine, when I'm talking about business, a lot of people cannot digest the fact that a girl
Is out there.
talking about money and finance and business, or is giving them the the terms or the ideas of how to build. Of course, not everybody is the same, but what I do is that just ignore it,
Right.
because you know that what you're doing is right, and there's nobody to tell you what is right, what is wrong, or judge you even for that.
So believe in yourself.
Yes, because I have always, growing up, listened to this one song in Hindi whose lyrics said that, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों
लोगों
को
का
काम है कहना.
That's
Right,
definitely
so they're
true.
just there to talk about it.
I think being resilient is one of the factors
Right.
everyone must consider having it in their personalities right now.
Yes.
Because there's so much judgment that's out
Hmm.
there, so many things. No matter what you do, you
Hmm.
will be judged.
Exactly,
Right? So
yes.
just accept it as well. Like just
Yeah.
say, be okay with it. It's
Right.
fine. You know
and
what you
at
are.
the same time, I think there are two things which even we need to consider.
Mhm.
Sometimes it is positive criticism and sometimes it is negative.
And there's
Of
this
course,
constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism as
Yeah.
well. But if you think it is not applicable to you, then just ignore it. Also, you need to have the power of accepting the right kind of feedback as well.
True.
Because if somebody is saying that what you're doing is something which can be improvised or improved, then you can definitely take that as a positive thing and implement in what you're doing. But if it is something that's bothering you, then you can definitely ignore. And also, how you react to let's say a controversial comment or an incident is also how your personality is shaped, because we are at the end of the day into that personalities where we have to put everything
Thing
out
there.
on
Yes,
social media.
yes.
So if somebody is commenting, you have two options: either you delete it and move on and think that never happened, or B, you can pro it in a way that I'm going to get back to
Back.
this person, I'm going to teach him a lesson, I'll go take it on my
But why
social
waste so
media.
much energy
Exactly.
on that?
The person doesn't deserve the kind of energy and the efforts you're putting in
And
here.
I think also reacting to it is majorly like
Yes.
you're giving them what they want. They
Exactly.
want you to react.
Exactly.
So,
So
makes
this
sense.
is definitely, we need to keep this in mind.
That's really well said.
Yeah.
Since we're also talking about criticism and all these things, one of the trendiest things Gen Zs or millennials as well do right now is
Mhm.
having a conversation with AI,
Oh, right.
right? Have
Yeah.
you been in that situation where it's like, oh, I need to tell something to this person, but wait, I need to put it in a better way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, ChatGPT, this is what is happening. And how do I confront this person like this or like that? So dependability on AI has increased to such an extent
Right.
that we are letting it take decisions
On
in
your
our
behalf.
personal lives
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Yeah, I think we all have been in that place.
Right?
At least once we have asked ChatGPT or Gemini what is happening. When I have done that, because see, I was just reading a report very recently, which it said when back in 2015 we all had like a huge group of 8 to 10 people where we ideate, debate, and
We have
at least like have a
opinions,
good
clash of
conversation.
clans. Yes.
Exactly. And then came 2020 when the group reduced down. It was
Correct.
not again AI era back
Correct.
then, but the amount of friends we had reduced and the conversation we had also shrinked over there,
True.
because we started to talk about, okay, you believe this, okay, I agree to it, that's it.
Right.
You're not engaging in the conversation.
There's no opinion against it.
Yes,
You're just
exactly.
accepting everything.
Whatever it is. And now we have reached a point where we don't have real friends and we're having the conversation with an AI. And that's
Mhm.
actually very sad.
It's very
And
sad. right.
unfortunately, whatever AI is telling, you're just accepting and you believe that no, this is the end of the world, this is the truth. There's
Right.
nothing beyond it.
Is there any situation where you have used AI in your business or in your content creation
Yeah,
in a positive
definitely.
way?
Yes. I mean, before, especially when it comes to research,
Mhm.
AI has always been my helping hand.
Mhm.
Because what happened is that when I do the brand case studies for
Right.
the research purposes, previously we had to manually check in all the government websites or the company websites, the news articles, the videos, everything. But now, with the help of AI, I'm able to get all the research in one place.
Please, right.
So that actually reduces our time, and at the same time I'm able to utilize it in a more efficient and effective way. So that is something AI has helped me, and this is something I think most of the students can actually
Actually
imply
work
as
on.
well, because quite often we're limited to ChatGPT or
Mhm.
Gemini, but there's so many other tools which we can look into. For example, I personally use Perplexity for all my researches. So yeah.
Right. That's why when I asked you ChatGPT or Claude, yeah,
Perplexity.
Perplexity.
See, every AI tool I think has its own plus
Right.
and minus.
So
So
it's like two sides of the coin.
yeah,
It has a negative aspect. It also
it
has a
depends on
positive
how you
aspect.
use it. That's
So
it.
students, you be wise. Don't use it to decorate your rooms, but use it for your research.
Yeah.
So that's true. I think on that note, let's move towards a fun segment.
Oh, okay.
Since we have been talking so much about a lot of
Hmm.
serious conversations, a lot of serious stuff that we can inculcate in our life, which is necessary, of course. But
Yeah.
let's move towards the fun factor.
Oh, okay.
That is, we have a rapid fire for you.
Yes.
You need to be super quick.
Excited. Okay.
All right. So, are you a green flag or red flag?
I think you all should tell that. To me, I'll be the green forest only.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Doom scrolling or procrastinating?
Procrastinating.
Yeah. How many
Yeah.
times have you done that?
A lot of times.
And still you're here. Okay. Badminton or pickleball?
I've never tried pickleball or badminton.
I don't understand how pickleball actually works
Yeah.
because you're running around.
It looks fancy.
It
but,
looks fancy,
Yeah.
but when I tried it, honestly,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel badminton is much simpler. All right, first bench or last bench?
Last bench.
Last bench?
Yeah.
Really?
I was a topper from last bench.
That is a good statement. I'm
Yeah.
the topper from the last bench.
Yeah.
All right. CapCut or Premiere Pro?
Depends. If it is urgent, then a CapCut.
Yeah.
Actually, in short. But yeah, Premiere Pro otherwise.
Photoshop or Canva?
Canva any day.
Any day.
Yeah.
So you use Canva for all your decks also.
everything. Yeah.
And brand collabs or paid promotions?
Oh, wait, both are the same.
No, but usually brand collabs can also be barter
No,
collabs.
I don't do barter.
You don't do
Sorry,
barter.
No barter.
Hey, just talking
Yeah.
for your money, please.
Yeah.
All right. Shark Tank or The Office?
Oh.
Hard one.
Yeah. I'll go for Shark Tank.
Next one is being late or leaving early?
I'm always late.
Always late.
Always late. I just end up being late. I don't know how.
All right. Late night hustle or early morning grind?
Late night.
Late night.
Yeah,
Night
it's
owl.
more peaceful, and I
I think
like
most
the
of us
time.
are night owls.
Yeah.
Coffee or matcha?
Tea, actually.
Tea?
Yeah, I'm a tea
Chai.
person.
Chai
Yeah,
lover.
chai. I come from North Karnataka, so organically it's
Chai.
cha.
Last but not the least, one book you would recommend our students or the viewers?
You asked a wrong person. One book. I think I'll have to pick one in the
One in
library
the
and tell
library.
you.
Okay, like just go blindly and like pick one.
I think there are a lot of
Mhm.
good books. One, I mean, definitely, as we were all discussing earlier, Psychology of Money and stuff. There's one really good book about storytelling. I'll you guys can put that there. I don't recollect the name. So it is about how a person can sell themselves through good storytelling.
Right.
So that is one book I feel everybody should read because it completely makes you as a different personality when it comes to talking about yourself, because
Right.
we all sell our items or stuffs in sales, but
Sell your skills.
they don't know how to represent
Right.
themselves. So that is the most important
I think that
factor.
is, as you said, it's very important to know how you can also monetize your skills based on your
Right.
personality, you know?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's one thing a lot of us actually lack, because you
Right.
don't know how much that is worth,
Right.
or as a starter also you have no idea
Exactly.
what is the value that you would be
Yeah.
getting or
Right.
anything.
I think
So
that is one skill which everybody must acquire. One is the art of storytelling,
right.
and second, the art of mastering your personality by selling the right kind of skills that you have.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely well said. I think we had a really fun conversation. It was really, really amazing to have such insights, which is really fresh, right? Because it's not on usual days, or it's not that spontaneously you can ask someone such wonderful
Hmm.
questions and get really good answers to
Right.
your perspectives.
Mhm.
So it was really fun. But before we could wind this up, is there something you would like to tell to students out there who are really new and who want to start a business
Hmm.
and they have no clue what to do and how they're going to take this forward?
All right. Okay. So, firstly, thank you so much. It was a wonderful
It was a pleasure
conversation
having you here. Thank
that I
you.
had, and I went back to my college days, my school days, everything, and it
Cherishing
was
everything,
yes,
nostalgia.
yeah, it was really good. And if there's one thing which I would like to share is that, irrespective of you starting up with a business or anything, always remember that your execution is all that matters and not what you have been doing, because for us we all get dopamine when we start talking about it, when we start planning about it, but the real game starts when we start executing it. So execution is the real game, and always remember your work should be in terms of, along with quantifying what you're doing,
Right.
the quality of the work you put out is
Should
what
speak.
that really matters. So, and the first thing is just start doing it, let it be anything. Just start with it and nobody's going to stop you. Have that self belief and self confidence. And the best part of starting as a student is your energy, your age, your time. You have a lot of opportunities that are coming in your way. So that is one thing we all have to, start doing it as a young student there.
So I think this is your time to shine as well. Based on the insights, please take whatever you can from this podcast and just start somewhere, because the earlier you start, the further you're going to get. So, on that note, we've come to an end of yet another very fascinating topic and a very insightful conversation with Swati Kulkarni, aka the Funda Hudgi. And I think we're going to bring up more such conversations which is raw, real, and which you could use in your real life. So, make sure you stay tuned for more such episodes, and we'll catch you later. Thank you.
Your voice, listening to Claricast. Conversations be